Picture this. You're lying in bed, wishing you were asleep, but you're wide awake. Maybe you look over at the clock and start counting how many hours until you need to wake up. Or maybe you look at your sleeping partner, jealous of how they can sleep so easily. We've all been there. Struggling to fall asleep can be really frustrating, especially if you want nothing more than to simply get some sleep, which only makes it harder to sleep because now you're frustrated. But there are some things you can do to make falling asleep a little bit easier, so we put together this list of recommendations with help from our own Director of Sleep Health, Dr. Shelby Harris. Now, keep in mind these are just recommendations, and they may not work for everyone. If you're seriously struggling with sleep or you feel like you've tried everything and nothing is working, please do consider consulting your primary care physician or a sleep specialist who can likely help you find some solutions. So now let's dive into some tips for making falling asleep a little bit easier. First up, it's a good idea to see if anything you're eating or drinking late in the day might be keeping you up at night. We all likely know caffeine is a big one to watch out for. Dr. Harris recommends limiting caffeine at least 8 hours before bed, as well as avoiding alcohol and heavy meals within 3 hours of bedtime. Next, avoid phone and screen use in general before bed. This is another tip many of us are familiar with, but it's easy to get into the habit of scrolling on your phone before bed anyway. Part of the reason to avoid screens is the blue light they emit, which is the same type of light from the sun that signals to our bodies to be awake and alert. Scrolling on your phone or watching TV before bed can also keep you up later than you intended if you get really invested in a show, or maybe you're on a little Wikipedia deep dive. You might look up and realize you meant to go to bed hours ago. Limiting screen time before bed can be a helpful way to wind down. Next up, know your chronotype. What this essentially means is your body's general natural rhythm of waking up and falling asleep. You've probably heard of early birds or night owls, and there are other animal-themed chronotypes out there, but the main thing to take away from chronotypes is just recognizing your body's natural inclinations. When you have no obligations like work or school, do you naturally wake up later or earlier? Do you naturally get sleepy early in the evening or later in the night? Knowing these things about yourself and your chronotype can help you establish better sleep habits. For example, if you're just a natural night owl and you just don't get sleepy until later in the evening, it may be easier for you to fall asleep if you don't force yourself to go to sleep super early before you're truly ready. Now, another possible culprit for your difficulty to sleep could be your bedroom being too warm. Our core body temperature actually drops as a part of our circadian rhythm when it's time to sleep, and sleeping in a cooler environment can make it easier to fall asleep and get quality sleep. If heat is keeping you up, consider investing in a fan, a portable AC unit, adjusting the thermostat, or investing in more cooling bedding. Now, this next one is a tough one for a lot of people, but it's to not look at your phone or at the clock when you're lying in bed trying to fall asleep. Looking at the time can sometimes just make us feel worse when we realize how much sleep we're missing out on. But stressing about missing sleep only makes it harder to sleep. If you're finding yourself in this situation, try to either practice some relaxation techniques or simply get up and do something relaxing, like reading a book, stretching, or even a low-intensity task like folding laundry. Laying there wishing you were asleep isn't helping you relax, so taking the focus off trying to sleep and just doing something relaxing may actually help you start to feel ready for bed. So here is a relaxation technique you can try if you are feeling tempted to stare at the clock, and that's counting backwards from 300 by threes. So 300, 297, 294, 291, and so on. Giving your mind something simple to focus on can help you to relax and get ready for sleep. Similarly, you could try meditation, breathing exercises, or yoga if you're struggling to sleep. These are things you could either do before bed as part of a wind down routine or turn to when you're in the moment struggling with sleep. Dr. Harris says that having a nighttime routine that incorporates these techniques can give you something to look forward to before bed, like a soothing ritual. Well folks, those are all the tips and tricks for this video. I hope you found this helpful and that some of these tips might be able to work for you. If you want to see some more tips or get a deeper understanding of what I covered in this video, I recommend checking out our guide on how to fall asleep over at sleepopolis.com, which is also linked in the description. We also have a ton more information, product reviews, and coupons for you to check out at sleepopolis.com as well. Like I said at the beginning of this video, these are just recommendations and guidelines, and they may not work for everyone. If you are seriously struggling with your sleep, there are doctors and psychologists out there who specialize in sleep who will likely be able to help you find some greater solutions if these smaller tips and tricks just aren't working for you. Please always be sure to consult your doctor if you are struggling with sleep. But thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!